And Ian, we are going live. This is the overnight line shift. I am Drew Martin. That is Ian Cameron. You can find him on Twitter at Bobano. And we are going to be going over tomorrow's MLB card, trying to get you on the right side of the number, the right entry point in the market. So we'll get right into it. Game number 903, 904. We got Cincinnati, Chicago, the Cubs. We got a NL Central rivalry here. And Ian, we got Garrett versus Lester, two southpaws. And I'll tell you, Lester is getting respect in the market, almost a $2 favorite right now. But I like this guy, Garrett. I can already tell you from the get-go, it's going to be Cincinnati or pass for me. It's just a matter of when I'm going to jump in. What is your opinion on this game, Ian?
He's got potential, Amir Garrett. I think there's a couple things, Drew, he's got to iron out. Walks in his last three starts in particular have been an issue for him. If you look at it, 11 walks in his last three starts combined, not great on that count, 5 home runs as well. But he does have electric stuff. It's all about harnessing it. It's all about bringing it in and just getting that command and control ironed out. And the Cubs, we've talked about it, their lineup has just not produced to the extent that we have expected this season. Now, they broke out against Bronson Arroyo on a night with the wind blowing out at Wrigley in the first game of this series. Doesn't mean they're going to have that same success against Garrett. I'm with you. I have no interest laying this kind of number with the Cubs and John Lester. Lester last time out, 4 runs allowed, 6 hits, 5.2 innings. Not a great start by any stretch. And don't look now, Cubs are 1-3 in Lester's last 4 starts. So, is Lester and the Cubs going to take money here? They still might, because it's the Cubs, because it's John Lester. It's a named pitcher. It's a guy that's been, an upper echelon pitcher in years past. So for that reason, you may see a little bit of Cubs money drift in. It won't be mine, though.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you. And I would say if you're going to go on the Reds, go sooner than later, because I could see the dog getting some money here. And keep in mind, it's getaway day for these two. So could be a quick one. We don't have a total there in Wrigley with they wait until the morning to put out the Wrigley totals, see what the wind is. But let's move on to the next one. 909, 910, Baltimore, Detroit. We got Bundy versus Zimmerman. I'll tell you, doing a little bit of research on this game, I like this guy, Dylan Bundy. A big white dude from Oklahoma, throws hard, but he has had just about over 100 pitches in just about every start this year. So you got to wonder if the pitch count is creeping up, because he is a young guy. They're going to watch his arm. And the Baltimore bullpen and the Detroit bullpen have not been good. So to see this total, I'm more interested in the total, a day game in Detroit. I could see this getting up and over the total. So looks like we got a little bit of a market movement, minus 115 towards the total at JustBet, WagerWeb, and BetCris. I'm looking at this on the SBR odds screen right now. So Ian, are you in agreement with me on this total?
It could be a higher scoring game. I do think Baltimore money might come in a little bit. They're about even money now. Short road favorite, actually, minus 110, minus 111 in that range. Chris reporting minus 111 with Baltimore. You might see some Orioles money come in. I don't know if there's going to be much betting market respect right now, Drew, for Jordan Zimmerman. I mean, his numbers have not been good. 6.28 ERA overall, 5.82 at home. The thing that concerns me in this matchup, Drew, is his ground ball rate is extremely low. I mean, we're talking about 20% in that area with Jordan Zimmerman. So that's a concern. I mean, you're talking about a power-laden Baltimore lineup with Jones, Machado, Chris Davis. Chris Davis has already teed off multiple home runs in this ballpark earlier in this Detroit-Baltimore series. So that could be a problem for Jordan Zimmerman. His propensity to give up fly balls against this kind of home run hitting, power-laden lineup that the Baltimore Orioles can throw at him. I like Bundy, but I do have some concerns about him, and I've talked about it, and it's starting to show, in his last few starts. He's labored a bit. You look at his pitches per inning in the last couple starts, 17.5, 18.7 pitches per inning. So he's laboring a little bit, still keeping the earned run allowance down. He's been remarkably consistent. He's allowed 2 runs or less now in 5 of his last 6 starts. Very good there for Bundy. But you mentioned it, pitch counts. He's had a lot in the hundreds. Detroit's lineup, especially at Comerica, not an easy one to get around as a starting pitcher. So I certainly am not looking to bet under. Wouldn't talk you out of the over.
Okay, and yeah, you're right on Baltimore money, at least so far. Bet Online was first to market at minus 105. They've been slowly bet up to minus 110. So I would agree with you. I would think it continues going in that route. By tomorrow morning, Baltimore could be up into the $1.20 range. But let's go on to the next one. 917, 918, Colorado, Minnesota. Another day game. We got Chatwood. What we know about him is reverse splits. He doesn't perform all that well in cores and has had some success outside of course. So more of a pitcher's park there in Minnesota. Minnesota offensively is an interesting, unique lineup. They do have Sano, but outside of that, nobody is really performing, very, very well. And then maybe the caveat of it all is Berrios, who we talked about on the roundtable. This kid's got a lot of potential, but the problem is he's already minus 120. The market is onto this. It's very frustrating, especially when you're doing your homework on these guys. You think you're going to get out in front of the move, and sure enough, they're minus 120 home favorites over Colorado, who's a top 5 moneymaker so far year to date in MLB. So it's just frustrating for me because I was looking to bet on him, but against Colorado tomorrow at this price, I'm probably going to lay off. What's your opinion on this one, Ian?
Yeah, I'm going to be on Minnesota in some form, but it's not going to be as big a bet because the value and the price just wasn't exactly where I was hoping it would be, much like your opinion of that. Jose Barrios, we talked about it on the roundtable, how he was so good in his first start with the Twins this season at Cleveland. 1 run in 7.2 innings. Really impressive numbers for him in that outing. Really looked sharp. Tyler Chatwood, we have, for people not aware, or as familiar with Chatwood, and Drew mentioned that point. He's one of those weird, reverse split guys. He's actually pitched better at home rather than on the road. So we got a situation here where San Diego, his last road start concerns me. 5 runs allowed for Tyler Chatwood in that start. 5.1 innings of work against the Padres. Before that, he faced San Francisco on the road back when the Giants weren't hitting the baseball very well. So I do have some concerns here with Tyler Chatwood. Now he's got to face an American League team here on the road. We'll see how he fares. Be interesting to see how he performs in this particular outing. But I think Minnesota worth some kind of bet. But boy, from a value perspective, Drew, you nailed it. Hit the nail right on the head. No bargains already with Jose.
Yeah, it is frustrating. And I'll tell you, Ian, one thing I've noticed with Colorado is, their 1 through 7, 1 through 8 part of their lineup is really talented. But on some of these getaway days, watch out, because when they go in with their B squad, their lineup 5, 6, 7, 8, they just roll over. So I would almost wait until the lineups come out, because Berrios will be able to roll through that lineup if they go with their B squad. After about their 7th or 8th hitter, their bench is not very strong there for the Rockies. So
and very quickly, Drew, these are very initial gut reaction leans. These aren't substantial opinions just yet because the lines have just come out. But very important with day games here, when we break day games down on the overnight shift here, check lineups before the game starts if you can. You want to know who's getting rested, who's going to be in the lineup. That could alter your betting stance a little bit with some of these games.
Absolutely. And we thank you for tuning in live. We know it's we're just getting started with this show, so please give us a like. And if you want to reach out to us on Twitter, you can find Ian at Bobano, myself at Drew Martin Bets. We got one more game for you here, and then we're going to wrap it up, keep it a quick show. 919, 920, Toronto, Atlanta. We got Stroman versus Tehran. Stroman, he's been pretty good. He's been up and down. And Tehran, I guess he got knocked around a little bit in the middle of this, up to probably 3 weeks ago, up until 2 starts ago. And then last time out at Miami, he only had 2 walks, no earned runs through 6 innings. So he might have found it. He's a fastball changeup guy, which I kind of like against this Toronto lineup. But this is an interesting one, about evenly priced. Where do you think this line's going, Ian?
It actually might come in a little bit on Toronto just because of Stroman. Stroman's been a guy that's gotten support in the past in the betting markets. I haven't seen it every start, Drew, but there are some starts I've seen Stroman. And the Jays take money when Stroman's been on the mound. Maybe that happens here. And Stroman's last couple starts, pretty good. He's given up just 2 runs in his last 12 innings against Seattle and Cleveland at home. His road ERA is pretty solid, 3.44 ERA. That stands in contrast to Julio Teheran. I don't know if I can make a big deal of Julio Teheran showing you a clear turnaround last time out. He was a bet against pitcher for me going into that start at Miami. Let's keep in mind, Drew, the Marlins bats are MIA right now. They're struggling at the plate. They're not producing offensively. It's a big reason why they've gone in the tank and they're not playing good baseball. That lineup is ice cold. So you got to take
Great
that
point.
Julio Teheran start. Yeah, exactly. At Miami last time out with a grain of salt here. I'd be looking maybe to back the Jays and Stroman in some kind. Lean that way. We'll get a clearer indication here if Teheran is back on the beam or not based on how he performs here against the Jays.
Yeah, no, good stuff, Ian, and appreciate you taking the time. We'll be back on Friday at 2 o'clock Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific to go over Saturday's baseball card. But for Ian Cameron, I'm Drew Martin. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you on Friday.
Enjoy the games and good luck, everyone.